You do not need a professional studio to start your podcast. In fact, in 2025, you can build a pro-level setup with just minimal gear. The magic is not in how fancy your tech is, but it's in how you actually use it. Today, we're diving into 3 essentials when it comes to your podcast setup: your camera, your mic, and your software. And we're also going to talk about how to use what you already have so that it works for you. Whether you're recording from your kitchen table, like me today, your makeshift studio, or your office, this episode is going to help you build the confidence that you need and want behind the mic and in front of the lens. Let's get into it. Today, I'm going to share with you my favorite tech stack, everything that I love when it comes to cameras, mics, and software. I know that tech is so overwhelming. It's the number one question that I get from my clients all the time. Things that I hear online, questions that people have. What kind of software should I use? What kind of camera should I use? And what kind of mic do I need? Number one questions that I get through and through all the time. This is what we're going to dive into today because I know how overwhelming it is. But before we go any further, I want to highlight that in my podcast launch blueprint, I have a whole ton of recommendations in there with direct links. So be sure to grab your copy of it. The link is in the episode notes below because it'll be so helpful in the overall creation of your podcast and getting you the exact tech that I know you need. But first, we're going to start with your camera. And I want to start here because this is what the audience sees. Your camera is not just capturing your face, it is translating your energy because viewers can truly feel when you're connected. They can see when your eyes start to light up and they can see when you're genuinely in the moment. That emotional connection is way more powerful than any type of resolution ever will be. So I want to get a little bit practical here. In this exact episode that I'm recording right now, I'm actually recording this off of my laptop camera. And while I wouldn't always recommend doing that, I also am super about the least barrier to entry. So whatever it is that you need to do to get the content created and out there, that is what I'm always going to recommend. Right now, today, as I'm recording this, I'm on the road. So I don't have my regular setup. I don't have all of my stands and all of this stuff. So I always make sure I have some kind of lighting situation to help make the camera look even better. Even though it's not 100% perfect, it's not exactly what I would want. Typically, I record with my iPhone, and I'm one of those people that has an iPhone and I have a Mac, so the iPhone and the Mac connect to each other. But the reason why I like doing this is because your iPhone gives you that cinematic quality when it's paired with great lighting. You actually don't necessarily need a whole brand new camera if you're recording off of an iPhone. Even if you have a ring light, if you have a small light like I have right now, or if you're recording in front of a window, this can totally transform your setup. So I want you to think about how you can already use what you have to record instead of having to go and buy all brand new things. The next piece is, of course, kind of already mentioned, a basic webcam, because this can take you really far. And especially if you're someone who maybe you don't have all of the resources and all of the money to throw at all of this tech, having your webcam and having a way for your viewers to see you is more than enough, right? This is really totally fine for solo episodes, for guest interviews, for live interviews, live streaming. You just want to make sure that you're adjusting your camera height to your eye level because having that simple tweak allows you to connect with your viewer because you're looking right at them and then creates more of that trust and more of that presence on the screen. The last camera here that I would recommend in this tech stack is the Sony ZV-E10. I have this camera. I love this camera, and I actually used to record my podcast on it all the time. Now, since I travel around so much, I typically just use my iPhone because it's easier for me. Again, lowest barrier to entry. But if you want a good camera that is easy to use and kind of plug and play, this would definitely be one that I would highly recommend. It's a really good camera. It gives you polish to your podcast episodes. It's perfect for creators who are ready to elevate their visual storytelling. It's intuitive to use, it's reliable, and it's designed for content creating. So you don't have to go and reinvent the wheel because that is exactly what the camera is meant for. And I have to say this too, because I'm a huge fan of tech. Like, I love new tech. I love trying new things, and I love bringing those things to you. But at the end of the day, your viewer is going to connect with you based off of clarity and based off of consistency, not perfection, right? So things like lighting and framing and your confidence in your message will outshine any camera upgrade, any day of the week. I am such a fan of delivering the message that you need to share, and the way in which you do that is really important, right? And if when you're planning a podcast episode, the thing that is stopping you from getting that message out there is your camera, please make sure you're using what you already have. This brings me into the next piece though, is do you really need video? We live in a world today where everyone will tell you that you need to have a video component to your podcast. In fact, pretty much all of the podcasts that we do within the agency, I want to say like 99% of them are based on video specifically. But here's the truth, right? Not every single podcast needs to have a video component because it's totally up to you and it is completely okay not to. If the thought of having a camera makes you freeze up, makes you feel uncomfortable, or bottlenecks your workflow in any type of way, please give yourself permission to start with audio only. And the best thing about podcasting is that podcasting meets you exactly where you are. At the end of the day, the way in which people hear your message is through audio, right? So audio only allows you to focus purely on your message, on your tone, on your storytelling. And it's an intimate way to connect with your audience, right? It's timeless. And it also travels with your listeners everywhere. It goes with them in their car. It goes with them on a walk, picking up the kids, cooking dinner, hanging out, whatever it is that you're doing. And the video component of it isn't always 100% necessary. Although I will say, if you do enjoy being on camera and you want to expand your reach on platforms like YouTube or Spotify, and you want to tap into that video world, adding in video can be super, super powerful, and it can be super helpful to do that because it's not just about chasing trends. And if you've been around here for a while, you'll know I'm not a fan of chasing trends. I'm a fan of the strategy behind it. And so it's really about choosing what is actually amplifying your message. That is your key to growth. So my opinion, video is not a requirement to podcasting, but it is a strategy in the overall game plan. And we're going to talk a little bit about repurposing at the end of this episode, but I want you to start with what feels sustainable. If you think about it, audio builds connection, video builds visibility. Both of them are valuable, but only if they're serving you on a creative level. If there's anything that you take away from this today, please do not force what does not fit. The best podcast setup is the one that makes you hit record. Now, we talked a little bit about audio and the audio side, and this leads us to the microphones. Audio builds trust. People may forgive average video, but they're going to tune out real fast if the audio is poor. And that's going to impact your reach. That'll impact your listenership. And that'll also impact your overall retention. Your voice is the heartbeat of your podcast. It carries your tone, it carries your intention, it carries your truth, it carries your message, right? So investing in a good, clean mic isn't just about quality, it's about connection, it's about longevity. So I will say there's all kinds of recommendations that I have when it comes to microphones, which you can find in my podcast launch blueprint. But the microphone that I'm using today, which you can see in the camera if you're watching this on video, is the Shure MV7. It remains one of my favorite all-around mics for creators. It is a little bit expensive, but it's not so out of the budget or so out of the way that it makes it totally inaccessible. It's really good for me personally for traveling because it's really forgiving in less than ideal spaces. It's simple to use and it gives you a decent and pretty good audio quality even in rooms that are not treated. It gives you a flexibility to grow with you. And it's also plug and play for beginners, right? Like I have the USB-C mic, but there's also the XLR version as well for people who want to plug it into a Rodecaster or something like that. That would be my main recommendation when it comes to microphones. And then of course you can use like a clip-on lav mic if you're recording from your phone because you would be very surprised with how the quality is on those and how much intimacy and how much warmth you can achieve by just bringing the mic a little bit closer to your mouth. The environment that you're in shapes your overall sound. So thinking about, are you recording somewhere where there's a lot of hard spaces, right? Are you using blankets to absorb sound? Are you recording in your closet? Are you filling your space with softer materials that are going to absorb different echoes? Where I am right now today is hard floors all around and there's not really a lot of soft surfaces to help absorb the sound. So when I record, I always make sure that I have something on me that'll help to absorb that sound and I put blankets around me to help make it sound a little bit more clear. Because no one, especially if you're doing this just like audio only and not a video podcast, people don't really see your whole setup. They're not going to know where you're recording from. They're just going to hear the confidence in your voice. So, people at the end of the day, they don't just listen to podcasts. they feel them, they connect with them, they enjoy them. So the more natural, the more grounded, and the more close to them that your sound feels, the deeper that your listener connection becomes. So we have a camera, we have a mic, those are both great things, but now we also need some software. So this is where the magic happens, and this is where it becomes your digital toolkit, if you will. This is where creativity meets efficiency, because the right tech stack doesn't just save you a lot of time, it also keeps you focused on your voice instead of fighting all of your tools. I'm going to recommend two, and I have way more in my tech stack that I would recommend. You can grab that in the podcast launch blueprint, which is in the episode notes below. But my favorite editing tool is Descript. For me, it's my editing sidekick. I record in it, I edit in it, I create my content in it, and I refine my episodes in it. It helps me with the editing side because we can delete the filler words, we can adjust pacing, we can add in sounds and design and graphics all in one place. And not having to go from one software to another and download files is so key. They also have a whole bunch of new AI features. I can do an episode on Descript separately if you want to hear more about that. But these AI features make it really easy to fix those small mistakes without having to re-record. And the editing is easy, it's intuitive, and I just really like it. And so that's what we use within the agency. Another tool that I would recommend hands down is Riverside FM. Of course, this is like the gold standard for remote interviews. It's the easiest one to use. It records locally on each side, so you really do get that crystal clear audio and really good video, even if your guest doesn't have great Wi-Fi, because it's recording locally, right? And they also have a whole bunch of new AI features, things like show notes and clips generators and that kind of stuff, which are a game changer. It really helps solo creators to create the content that they want to create, giving their time back as well, which is so important. So either of these softwares, like you can go from having a raw recording to repurposed content in minutes. So if you stack these tools together, you create a system that's going to support your overall creativity instead of slowing it down. My take is always keep everything simple. Keep your workflow simple, record in a simple way, and you can even record in Riverside, you can edit in Descript, you can publish then with confidence. I just don't want it to be complicated. I don't want it to be complex because complexity is the enemy of consistency. But now I want to share with you how I tie all of this together into your workflow. So as I was kind of just mentioning, you can record in Riverside or you can also record in Descript. If you record in Riverside FM directly, you can then import your files into Descript to edit. If you're recording in Descript directly, your file is already there and it's already uploading and it's already ready to go. Then you edit your podcast episode in Descript, or if you use another software, you can totally do that too. Then you can repurpose your content, right? So this is where you get your quotes and your clips and your reels and your shorts and your blogs and your show notes and so on. And then you get to post consistently. I really like a simple workflow. It does not need to be complicated. It does not need to be overwhelming. Once you figure out what your creator ecosystem is, it'll be way easier for you to go and recreate the content every single week. If we kind of loop back to what we were talking about at the beginning of this episode, no, you do not need a studio. You need strategy, you need intention, and you need the right workflow. I really want you to think about starting simple and refining as you continue to grow. Let your content evolve alongside your learning. And either way, whatever you decide, whether you decide to stick with video or go with audio only, I really want you to remember that your story is so important. The message that you're sharing is really important, and your voice is more than enough. And your story deserves to be heard. So these are my tech recommendations. Again, you can find this and more in my podcast launch blueprint. The link is in the episode notes below. Let me know what you think about this. Any thoughts, any comments? What do you like to use? What do you prefer? Let me know in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube, or let me know on your favorite podcast app, wherever you're listening to this. Send me a message, send me a DM. I'm here. I love to hear from you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you same time, same place next week. Bye for now.